Go.
Hey guys, welcome to Hurting Little Cows to the Glory of God. And today we're going to talk about our family's unique situation.
Unique squeaks for the next Hurting Little Cow.
Our unique situation of just our disabilities that we have in our family and how that makes things challenging when it comes to a week like this where we have doctor's appointments. And I think that people who have family members with lots of disabilities.
Piece of grass. Been playing outdoors too much.
People who have a lot of disabilities or have disabilities in their family understand what we're talking about, but I think people who don't are kind of confused by our family situation sometimes.
It is a little strange to the uninitiated.
So this week we have a bunch of doctor's appointments, but we can go back to last week and explain how things worked, because this week we've done these appointments yet, so we're not.
We'll see how this all works out. Yeah.
So last week we had some dentist appointments, just regular go see the dentist, get our teeth checked out appointments. And I was supposed to take Samuel and Josiah to an office that's about 20 minutes from the house, 15 minutes from the house, yeah. not that far. But we have a new little baby.
Right.
And this little baby needs to be with mommy because he's nursing. And so that's a great thing. It's really good, and I want him to be with me. I wouldn't want to leave him home even if I wasn't nursing.
Right.
He's still too little. So anyway, we had to make the decision of how to get them there. So Mark doesn't drive. So if you're new to the channel, I'm Sarah. This is Mark. Mark has a neurological condition and he can't drive. So I'm the primary driver in the family. Our 17-year-old daughter drives also. But as you know, the 17-year-old can't check people in for doctor's appointments and things.
Nope.
So I'm the primary driver in the family. Sorry, if you don't know, we also have a son who has seizures, and we're watching him on his camera to make sure that he doesn't have a seizure. So anyway, our 17-year-old is the other driver in the family, but she hurt herself last week. Well, didn't hurt herself. She dislocated her knee, which is a regular occurrence for her. Not regular. She does it every couple years.
Right.
But it's enough that we kind of knew it was going to happen. We didn't have to go see the doctor because it was a...
Well, it happens to you intermittently. Yeah. It happens to Samuel intermittently. So it's not, we're not strangers to
You can
this
come
need.
in.
Hello.
Do you guys want the front door?
I can leave you closing the lock.
Thank you. So anyway, so it's a normal thing. We didn't have to go to the doctor for her because we know what we're supposed to do at home.
Right.
But she's now on crutches for undetermined amount of time.
Thankfully, it is her left leg that's affected, so she can still drive.
Right.
If need be.
So the appointment last week, we were going to, and then it was on a Thursday, and my mom works at our local hospital, but she has a rotating day off every week. And it happened to be that her day off was going to be Thursday. So I had made the arrangement with my mom that she would come with me to the dentist appointment because I was going to have Samuel, who's 14 and totally capable.
Totally.
The 11-year-old who has seizures, and the newborn. And how the office is set up, the waiting room is a ways from the dentist office. So we had decided that Grandma was going to come with us. I would keep the newborn with me. Grandma would be able to be there to sit with whoever in the waiting room, specifically being Josiah. So if he had a seizure, she could take care of him because there wasn't room for him to be in the dentist office with me.
Right.
But she would watch him.
Yes.
We have to think of all those things.
Then hopefully he doesn't have a seizure while he's being taken care of by the dentist, because that can be challenging.
Okay, so it came to Thursday morning, and if you were with us last week, Josiah was having 2 days of really bad seizures. So for those who don't know, Josiah's had seizures for the past
5?
No,
No.
it was like 4 when they started.
Oh.
So he's almost
gonna
12.
be 12
So like 8 years.
Wow.
Almost 8 years he's been having seizures. They've changed over the years.
Yes.
But his grand mal seizures have been the past 4. It was right before the
That's what I was thinking 4 if I was the grand
So
mal.
anyway, so he had multiple seizures Tuesday and Wednesday into Thursday. So I called the dentist office and said, I can't bring Josiah today because he's having too many seizures. You're not going to be able to check his mouth because this just isn't,
Right.
he's not going to be capable of that. Oh, I was going back to tell you how long he's been having seizures, because if you haven't been watching the channel, Josiah has tried and failed 4 different medications. So it's not just as easy as put him on medication. So you can, if you have things
Or
to
CBD or all of those other things.
Yeah.
Thanks. We've been doing
if you
this
have
for
things
some
you
time.
want to share with us, share them in the comments, but we've tried a lot of things. So it's not just an easy fix to get him over the seizures.
And I'm not buying anything, so if you're going to send me something free, maybe. But
So anyway, he was doing a lot of, he was having a lot of seizures. So I called the dentist office. They said, yes, you can bring another child in place because all the kids have appointments over the next couple weeks.
Yep.
So we were able to take another child in place. So now I've got Samuel, 14, and Abigail, who's 9, going. Both of them totally capable. I can take the baby. I can make it work for me to go.
Yep.
The problem is we now have a Josiah who needs supervision to be able to be helped.
and sometimes medical.
So
Yeah.
on a normal day, this would not be a problem because we have Naomi, totally capable 17-year-old who's old enough that I would have no problem with her babysitting other people's kids.
Okay.
The problem is she's now on crutches. So and at this point she hadn't driven yet since she's been on crutches. She has hurt her left knee, not her right, but still she hadn't driven.
It's hard getting around, getting back up in the driver's seat. So.
And Mark can't drive. And Mark,
Oh, I can drive really well. They just don't. They just don't let me. And if anything scary happened, we'd probably die. But I know how.
he does know how.
I used to a lot.
But anyway, he has neurological issues.
Yeah.
And so he can't watch the children for long periods of time. I'm going to be gone from the house now for 2.5 hours,
Right.
probably.
That's a long period of time.
Long period of time. I'm not saying he can't watch children like, hey, kids are playing outside, he's out there. I'm not saying that. I just want you guys to know that.
Right.
But
long term doesn't work.
long term. So now I have to take Samuel, the capable 14-year-old,
Right.
and Abigail, the capable 9-year-old, leaving the seizure 11-year-old here.
Right.
So we had to make the whole plan of which vehicle we would take because now grandma is home for the day. So that's helpful. But if Josiah has a seizure, how are we getting him to the hospital?
Well, and then you have to move the
It's
baby's seat. We don't have multiple car seats
Right.
for the baby, so we would have to move the baby seat also over.
And it's
That's not
quicker.
terrible, but
Where we live, it is quicker for us to jump in our car than to call the ambulance.
oh, totally.
If we needed to call the ambulance, I'm not saying our ambulance service is bad or anything like that, but we live on the side of town that's closer to the hospital. And
we can obey the speed limit and be there in 10 minutes.
right. And
Like
with
that's faster than any ambulance can even get here.
And with Josiah's condition, we
Time
know
is of
what
the
we're
essence.
dealing with.
Yep.
And we can safely get him there.
Yep.
Because one of us can pick him up, carry him to the car, get him there. We have had the ambulance come here before, and it just was a slower process. Ambulance is great. They did what they needed to and got him stabilized. They were good.
Yeah, they had to assess him and all of that kind of stuff.
Just quicker for us to get there.
Totally.
So anyway, so we had to make the whole plan of if Josiah is so seizure-y, we need to leave a car. How's he going to get there? All of that stuff. Luckily, there was no seizure while I was, no big seizure while I was gone. He did have 2 small seizures while I was gone.
Yeah.
No one had to take him to the hospital or anything like that. But we had to think through that whole process just to go to a simple doctor's appointment.
Just go to dentist appointment, yeah.
So, tomorrow.
Oh, and if I go to doctor's appointments, I actually have to have a babysitter for me because of my spells. This is why I don't work at the hospital anymore, because I used to work in sterile processing in the operating room. Is my spells can cause me to fall down, to lose, basically lose consciousness, lose speech, lose all sorts of things, and they're intermittent, and it can happen sporadically, I guess you'd say.
And if Mark has to do anything that's out of the normal, like answering questions for the doctor, it can set him into a spell faster.
Yeah, I really struggle with making decisions, answering questions, memory, recall stuff. It's weird because I think I seem like a normal person, don't I? Like, I think I sound like a normal person.
No, he does sound like a normal person.
Most of the time. Not so much all the time, but... Oh yeah, so I have a note that says I can't have a medical encounter of any sort without someone to babysit me to make sure I'm okay.
So the dentist visits last week, I set Mark and Naomi up with the dentist on the same day because Naomi is
My babysitter.
capable of being his babysitter at the doctor's
she
office.
can keep me safe, yeah,
And
and speak up for me.
because of our child situation of needing to have someone to Josiah because of his seizures, we had, like, it's easier for him to go with Naomi and for them to call me from a doctor's appointment if they need my input on something.
Right.
If Mark doesn't remember something. So anyway.
That's like a pro mom tip, actually. You don't actually have to go. You can just send your husband, and if they have any questions, they have a phone.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about phones now, is you can just put the phone. We did that
post-COVID. Like, COVID changed a lot of how we interact with doctors, I think.
We've actually done that multiple times. My mom works at the local hospital. She's in the OR, but she knows, like, medical questions to ask or medical terminology. And so we've had a couple times where, like, I remember one night in Tennessee, I had taken Josiah because he wasn't coming back to baseline, so we went to the hospital to get observed. And every time, like, we had her on speakerphone and we were just chatting with her in between times. But when the doctor would come in, I'd let the doctor know that my mom was on the phone, and my mom could ask the questions. Or even better was, after we went home, someone else had the information, could help me explain to Mark, because when you go to the hospital, they give you so much information. And it was nice to be able to have someone else be able to help me relay it to Mark. So after we got home, we did a speaker call with my mom, and she helped me fill in all the details.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that was our Thursday.
Yeah. Dentist. Yeah.
So yeah, we had the dentist. Actually, that was Wednesday.
That was Wednesday.
Thursday, we woke up to Josiah, the one who has seizures, having somehow hurt his arm sometime on Wednesday or Wednesday night. We don't know what happened.
He doesn't remember. No.
It's on his left side with the cerebral palsy, so he doesn't feel it very well. So
He can't
somehow
see peripherally out of his left side at all. He can't feel his left arm. He can't feel his left leg.
He can't feel him very well.
Yeah, like a little bit, yeah. Doesn't have normal feeling, I guess I would say.
Right.
So you never know, like, if he fell down, if he remembered it.
He took a small fall on Wednesday, but didn't tell us it hurt.
Right.
He had some seizures Wednesday night, so did he somehow jam it on something in a seizure? Because when he has a seizure, he gets stiff and will shake. So sometimes he'll, like, hit against a wall or something.
Yeah, all of his limbs get really stiff and pull back and, get contorted in weird places.
Yeah. So somehow hurt himself. So we wake up Thursday morning. The dentist on Wednesday had been just to see the dentist about possibly needing cavities filled and that type of thing. But they had an opening for cleanings on Thursday. So we took the whole family, over to the dentist office, because at this point Josiah's feeling better. He's not as seizure as before. But we didn't feel comfortable leaving him here if, with the still seizure-y. Because he was still seizure. If he wasn't still seizure, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. But he was still seizure-y. So.
We have used the word seizure-y more than, I'm not even sure if it's a word, but man, do we use it a lot in this house.
So anyway, we all went to the dentist office where Mark stayed in the car with the kids. They watched a show while we did our dentist visits. And luckily our dentist visit did not take as long as we thought it was going to.
No, it was probably half an hour shorter.
And then we were waiting for a call from the doctor's office. So the doctor called us to let us know about getting Josiah's arm checked out. And we had to make the decision of, okay, what do we do now? Because Josiah needs an appointment. I need to take him because I need to be able to make medical decisions in whatever happens.
Right. And you have to take the
and
baby
I have to
because
take the
you're his
baby.
food source.
But Josiah's really seizure-y. So normally taking a child and the baby would not be a problem. You don't even have to worry about that.
Right.
But Josiah's seizure-y, so if he has a seizure walking across the parking lot, am I going to be safe with the baby and him trying to get him safely across the parking lot?
Yeah, he oftentimes will need an adult to be holding him to make sure, like rolling him if he's gagging or that kind of thing, and keeping hold of him and make sure that his body, his limbs aren't going up against something hard and he's hurting himself.
So can I take care of...
Can't do that with a baby.
Yes, but I can, like, physically, as a person, I can physically take care of him. Just the idea of trying to do it in a doctor's office with a baby strapped on in a carrier would be difficult.
Yeah.
Not worried about it on a daily basis because he does not have daily seizures.
Not anymore. Not right now.
Right, but he was, like, in this little time spurt we're talking about, he was having seizures.
Right.
Multiple times. So we were trying to figure out what's best. Well, Naomi can't walk. Oh, the other thing about taking Josiah to the doctor is we know he's hurt his arm. He probably needs x-rays. I don't want to take the baby into the x-ray room.
Right.
But someone needs to be with him because where we live, it's a small local hospital.
Yeah.
And I love the hospital, we trust the hospital, not saying anything like that. But the ER techs here are not used to dealing with
A Josiah.
Josiah.
He is a very unique case. I mean, we don't. You just see a fun kid who likes to sing and color and stuff like that, but he's a medically very complex.
And our local hospital, we don't have any specialists and stuff around here. So a child who has a major fracture or something is going to be sent to the bigger hospital.
Right.
A child who has his type of issue gets sent to the bigger hospital on a more regular basis. So it's just something they don't deal with.
We're going to see a pediatric orthopedist tomorrow.
Right.
That person is
the appointment the other day didn't go well.
That person is 2 hours drive away from our home.
So for the Thursday appointment, we ended up deciding that the best course of action, because of the help that I would need because of a seizure Josiah who needed x-rays, was to take Mark with me.
Which is still a gamble some days.
Mark was feeling good this day.
I felt really good.
It was early enough in the day because Mark falls apart in the evenings more so than earlier in the day.
Yeah, before 3 p.m. I can usually be counted on for moderate things.
So we end up bringing everybody else home. So Naomi's in charge, and
they're all set up with.
They're set up to watch shows and do whatever they need while we're gone. So we have a capable 17-year-old at home and a capable 14-year-old at home. So we're not leaving these kids unsupervised or anything. No. But Naomi wouldn't have been helpful to me on crutches in the other case.
Yep.
So we end up going to the doctor's office.
Well, and we're 10 minutes away if we actually needed to get up there.
So we end up going to the doctor's office to see the doctor who sends us to the hospital because we have to go to the hospital to get the x-rays. So,
which thankfully is only on the other end of the parking lot.
Yes. So it all worked out well. The x-ray did not show a visible break. And so
however,
we now need to see, however, over the weekend it still hurts and we go to the orthopedic doctor tomorrow. God is good though. God is awesome. The doctor said, if it doesn't get better, let us, call us on Monday. So I called first thing this morning and said, it's not better. And they said, we were wondering if you had transportation issues or if you'd be able to get to Portland, which is almost 2 hours away, to see the specialist. And I was kind of like, okay, if the specialist is the best,
that's what he needs,
that's what we're going to do. Yeah. But it's a very busy week for us with some other appointments. So I was like, okay.
And we have good orthopods here at the hospital.
Yeah, we know the orthopedic doctor's here.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, okay, if you think we need that, we'll do it. So I called, they said, can you get there? And I said, we can do that. So they sent us an email. And while I was answering the email, actually, the doctor called. But the email said they can get you in tomorrow morning at 10:30, which Naomi has an appointment already down there at 1 o'clock tomorrow. So we can do both appointments in one day, only doing one drive down. Very exciting. God is very, very good.
Less gas money, less hours in the car, less hassle, less having to figure things out.
So in all of that, you can pray for us tomorrow because it's a long day out for everybody, but especially Josiah. He is doing better. That spurt of seizures we had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, he didn't.
It's been a couple days.
We had one overnight last night.
Oh, that's right.
A short one overnight last night, but it was a full moon and the end of 2 days of the barometer dropping. So the fact he only had one is amazing.
That's really good, actually.
And he actually was really good today, seizure-wise. But his arm still hurts. Yes. So tomorrow we have to go to Portland, being a large family, going all the way down there. But it makes the most sense for our family to do the whole travel. Once we get down there, Josiah's appointment is first. We're actually going to be taking Naomi and I will go in with baby and Josiah. Josiah is less seizure-y and Naomi's a little more capable now. And we're also going to a specialist office.
We've got me, Samuel, a laptop, and a DVD player.
Yes.
And endless snacks.
Yes. Pray for Mark because he's going to be in the car with all the kids through 2 appointments.
They don't need me.
But the appointment tomorrow, we're going to take Naomi in because Josiah will need me to go to x-ray with him. And Naomi is going to be able to sit
good with the baby.
For whatever period of time. And I don't know how the place is set up, so I might have to go down a hallway to get to x-ray and all of that stuff. Naomi's totally capable of taking care of the baby during that time.
Yes.
I trust other children to hold the baby, but Abigail's 9. She could totally hold the baby if it was sit in this room with me and hold the baby while I do this.
Might cry or something.
But I don't want to leave her down a hallway with the baby.
Yeah, Naomi is
so
plenty strong and capable.
Naomi and I will go in with Josiah and baby and get the x-rays and whatever done tomorrow with the doctor. Then we're going to do a couple things in town to waste a little time. And then the next appointment is for Naomi. She has a cardiology appointment just for some weird, she feels like she's going to pass out when she stands up too quick, has some chest pains. So we've been waiting for this cardiology appointment.
For a year?
For a year. So that is tomorrow. And so Mark will be in the car. I'll go in with Abby. I'll go in with Naomi and Elisha. And Mark will be in the car with everybody else. Yeah.
It's turned into like a pray for us, please video.
It is. It's a pray for us, please. So it's a crazy day. It's raining outside again, which is really good.
Yeah.
But it's a crazy day for our family because we really haven't done a ton for appointments in the past 2 months because we were waiting for baby.
Yeah.
So it was appointments for me and then appointments for like after baby was appointments for that, but we haven't, like, we had just started doing appointments, like the dentist appointments were the first ones we had set up for
and we haven't done a 2-hour trip either.
And pray for Mark because he decided to run with the kids tonight and hurt himself.
Okay, so part of my condition is paroxysmal kinesiogenic dyskinesia or dystonia, depending on who you're talking to.
His body decides to not work sometimes.
My body
That's what
just
that means.
freaks out, and usually it's a muscle, like my shoulder will twitch or something like that, or my neck will go out of place, or these kind of things. But I was actually like trying to be a cool dad and like ran with my kids and raced into the tree up front, and I got about 10 feet from the tree. And everything in my entire lower body locked up. Funny enough, Samuel was videotaping this, which is really weird because I never run, so I thought it was funny. So I ran the whole 100 feet across the yard.
And then fell down at the tree.
And probably fell down and hurted myself. So all the muscles in my lower back, my quads, my calves, and my feet all just kind of locked up at once and wouldn't let go.
So Mark can walk now, but
it still hurts.
The video, he kind of just falls over at the end.
Yeah, well, Samuel was like, he fell on the ground. I'm gonna shut the video off and go see if Daddy's
He
okay.
probably wouldn't have fallen over had he not just tried to run the entire.
Yeah, probably.
Like I don't think he would have fallen over. He just kind of had a lot of forward momentum.
Yeah.
At that point. So anyway. So I pray for our family because we have to do things a little different. It's not an easy mom jumps in the car and goes.
I think a lot of people think we're weird because like you always see us all together. It's the only way things work anymore.
Yeah.
But that's okay. This is where we are, and we like being together, and we like doing things together, and we have all kinds of conversations with people because we're always all together.
Yeah. So
it's cool.
It's different, and I think people who have a child or an adult in the family with a disability, with special needs, whatever
maybe even
you have going
changing
on,
needs week to week.
Understand what I'm talking about. That it's not just an easy, hey, so and so's got a dentist, I'm leaving. Like we have to make plans in advance. And the other big problem we have is because of Mark's issues. Mark doesn't deal with change well. And so like I had to get off the phone today and tell Mark, okay, we have to go to Portland earlier tomorrow and we have this. And that just throws Mark's brain into extra high gear. But
yes, I do really struggle with all of those sorts of things. But I like I say, I think you said earlier, it's easy to hear these things and like, okay, they're just sitting around complaining, but we're actually trying to explain why we are the way we are,
right?
Because we recognize that we're not like most people, and I think some people think we're just weird, and we are. But some people are curious and want to help. Some people, want to pray, and prayer is probably the most helpful thing we can do because we don't need.
And I want to say
things. We just God provides all of our needs, but oftentimes what we need is encouragement and comfort, and we know other people going through much more difficult things in our estimation, and praying for them and trying to be an encouragement to them. There's just so much to it. Sorry.
And I want to say thank you to people who have offered to help, but sometimes physical help of like taking someone to an appointment is not helpful for our family just because of the ins and outs of who has to.
It's very complex.
It wouldn't have helped me to have someone come sit with Josiah the other day while he was having seizures because he's a very complex case and it's not just as easy to sit with him.
Yeah.
So
like when I worked as a CNA, there was certain people that specifically wanted, and you should have continuity of care as much as you're able to have the same people that you're taking care of day in and day out. And we're 24-hour a day caregivers for Josiah. Like we do not leave his side. Like, he doesn't go to Sunday school, he doesn't go to Boy Scouts, he doesn't go to anything without us. We do all sorts of things as a family, but he can't be left without someone to protect him.
And part of this video is there are people we know that don't have YouTube channels, and all of that stuff, that we just want to kind of help explain their story too. I know other families that aren't exactly like us, but do deal with these types of issues with how do we get everybody in the right places because of special needs within the family. And they don't have the access to explain to people like we do why it is what it is. So this is kind of just also a video of awareness that if you know somebody who deals with needs within their family, know that why their family looks different for a reason, not just because they're trying. I think sometimes people think we're trying to make things as difficult as possible on ourselves, and that's not true.
No.
We're making it makes me feel better as a mom that, like, tomorrow we were supposed to go for Naomi to have a cardiology appointment.
I'd rather see him than me.
I would not have felt comfortable as a mom to leave Josiah that far away from me for me to take Naomi to Portland. Does that make sense? Like that, as a mom, I like having him close, even if that's out in the car while I'm inside, but knowing that I'm not 2 hours from him if he had a problem.
Well, because the decisions that have to be made for him, like last time you had to take him to the hospital, it's, how much fentanyl do we give this kid before we stick him in the helicopter so we can fly him?
Yeah.
Like, you have to do, intubation. There's all these different sorts of meds and decisions. They're making a lot of them, but it's hard to even keep, like you said, keep up with all the information you're being given.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
And like, I know people, as Josiah, the last couple days when he was having so many seizures, he gets very unbalanced and he really needs someone to like walk alongside him and hold his hand. But if you aren't his everyday caregiver, you don't realize how unstable he is, and that letting go of him could mean that he takes a fall that's really harmful to him. I know there's one mom in particular I'm thinking about. I don't know if she watches my channel or not, but I know she's been questioned on why she's holding on to her daughter who has seizures when she knows that that child could easily fall and do major damage to herself.
Yeah.
Having a seizure.
Yeah.
But people think it's just like an overprotective mom thing.
No, trust parents. We know our stuff, dude. Like, we do this all the time, and we've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
And we were both caregivers before we had children with special needs, or when I became someone who had kind of needs. Like, we've been doing this a while.
Yeah.
But trust parents. Parents do know. I mean, it's always, yes, we have teams of people. We have doctors and therapists and books that we read and trusted counselors and all of that. But we're doing everything we can for all of our children, and we know them better than anybody else ever could.
So that's just why our family looks different in the way that we do things. We just kind of want to explain it. Hope it helps other people understand what's going on with families.
Yeah.
If you have something to add to the video, comment below, or give a thumbs up if this was helpful. Send it on to someone else if this explains your family and you don't know how to say it to somebody else. I know that sometimes extended family can be the hardest ones to deal with because they don't see your everyday life, and they think that you're being problematic in not going to certain things or not doing certain things. So life is very complex. That's the only way I can keep saying it. It's just, life is very complex. I'm not saying that was our extended family.
No.
If our extended family is watching, we're not talking about you.
No, we have friends and families, and there's considerations with churches and like all sorts of things when people have diverse special needs, and we're not looking for people to take care of us or help us out or anything like that. We're not saying that. We're actually saying quite the opposite. Just encourage us that, hey, you know what, you're doing all right. I know that's hard, and I know you probably haven't slept enough, but it's nice. And we want to be that encouragement to other people. Sometimes Lord gives us the opportunity to encourage other people who are walking through difficult things, and hopefully that's what we want to be, as a help. Yeah. That's what our channel is about.
So we didn't want to complain, but this is a pray for us as we go about this craziness. And hopefully this was an encouragement too. So we'll see you guys next time on Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God.
Bye bye. He's cute.
He's cute.
He's pretty cute.